Hey Devon, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't think that we've done anything like this for Thunderbean Thursday ever, really.
No.
No. But I thought it might be kind of a good time since I'm working on trying to get Rainbow Parades finally done.
Hmm.
That it might be kind of fun to have us both take a look at some of the Rainbow Parades and where the color correction is on the films right now. Since you're kind of the color correction guru on the Sunshine Makers.
Oh man.
So I thought that that one looks just about the best, and I've tried to base what I've been doing around that one film because I think that that one had such a nice color balance. But the hardest thing about this as a set is that all of these are different sources, and they were all printed at different times, and even the prints that seem to be from the mid '30s vintage are all over the place in terms of how they were printed and what the color quality looks like.
Yeah, I remember we
So
were talking about that.
so it's a weird, and if you if you're like us and love old cartoons, then you've seen lots of prints of these films, and you know that the all the prints look different on them. So I'm going to share the timeline right now of what I've got so far, and um, give me your unbarred opinion on this stuff because
Well,
it's
let's see what you got.
all right. It's not set in stone yet. I mean, we're just working on trying to get them to work well. I think this is about the best I can get this. This is mostly Tommy's print on this one. He had a print that had a scene that was extra, but it had a few splices. So there's a few kind of cut-ins from an official films print, but generally it's pretty decent. What do you think?
That looks pretty good.
Cool. So does it get the Devon Baxter seal of approval in your 2 minutes of looking at it?
Um, yeah, I'd say it does.
I mean, we could go a little bit darker on it, but I'm pretty happy with it. So the thing
Yeah,
is,
maybe
when
a
I went
tiny.
darker, I was like losing detail and stuff like this.
That's the thing. That's the big old conundrum there.
I love that there's production codes on some of this stuff.
That gets their seal of approval.
They liked it.
It's practically inoffensive.
Yeah. This was a way better print, and it was a. These are both old, you know, 40s Kodak prints of these things.
Now,
Actually, this one might have been a DuPont. Thinking about it,
what's your stance on de-flickering if you haven't done that?
um, I didn't deflicker this one.
Okay.
Some of them I have, like on Pastry Town Wedding. It was so egregious that I did, but I don't know. I mean, it's been a real debate because a lot of this stuff is so clean, and I kind of like the variant. I kind of like the variant of the look of it. I like to try to keep the look the same if I can sometimes.
The big
So I don't
mystery.
know. It's definitely still up for debate.
Who is
Look,
the
I'm getting
small
a really
boy?
nice range on this one. I think.
Sorry for the levity there. Who is that small boy? It's still a big mystery to me.
No one will ever know. I mean, it's lost to history at this point.
I like the range in this one.
Yeah, it's better. The other one, if I try to pull it up or down, it's blowing out. You know, it's just a more contrasty print. But this one's really nice. Like I'm getting everything. What I found is that when you have less of that range, it's almost better to just go a little bit lower contrast. But if you got it, why not? I mean, I've got my black going all the way to black and my white going to sort of medium, not quite too hot. And then Ralph Celentano had this absolutely gorgeous print of Little Bird Told Me, but that's a really dark MPAA. You can't even see it. Really nice print though. You think I'm too dark on titles there?
Just a little bit.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's better.
I'm closer to where I am on the other ones.
Mm-hmm. The photographer of the Tattletales was a man named Harry Squires, and Harry Squires previously did the live action for Walter Lance's Dinky Doodles for Bray in the 20s.
Oh wow.
Ah, nice.
Let me know what you think.
Ah, color.
My eyes, my eyes.
Oh, nice.
What's been really hard about these is everything is hard matted identically here at 1:3:1. And so, but the prints are all over the place. So
This might be one of the ones that Pete Burness worked on, because this shot here, I have a feeling this is Pete Burness's stuff with the chef here. That's
and
just a guess. There's that shot where he's got the icing on the cake. It's a bit hot there.
Yeah. I like how a lot of the time Eschbau's composing these things like storybooks. Like he's like doing like little accoutrements at the top or bottom. You know? You were thinking the icing shot could be a little bit different?
Yeah.
But you're trying to just get the technical right, but not, you know, not destroy what was there, you know, have the film still look just like the film.
Milton Knight said that this shot of the girl and the bee was Carlo Vinci.
Oh,
And the boy rescuing the girl from the bee is Carlo Vinci's stuff.
this is kind of an example of Eschbau's storybook layout, where it looks like it's more composed like what you'd see in a book plate for a children's book. He does that kind of thing a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if this background person wasn't a casualty of the mass layoff that occurred when they decided to switch to full color production and they had to lay off 50 staffers. And I wonder if this guy who painted the backgrounds was one of the people they let go, because you don't really see backgrounds looking like that in the other rainbow parades.
No, but then again, this is Eschbau's first film too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this and Sunshine Makers and Japanese Lanterns to some extent have a completely different film design. There's one of his sort of storybook layout looking things again. If you look at my green range, you'll see it like on a shot like this. This is actually one of the shots that I used to adjust a lot, was because this is about as full of a total range as I can get. There's one of Eschbau's storybook things again, like with the, you know, how he kind of frames things.
Like I was saying to you earlier, there's a slight twinge of green from shot to shot, and this is an example of how you manage to kind of get that nice balance there.
I think it's the best I can get. Fire department. Although I think I'm closer. The print was really, really green. Like the actual physical print is, and what I found is just by bringing my green layer down, I got some blues, but all the blues are pretty light throughout. Like there's no, and I could try to artificially boost that stuff, but I'm trying not to do it. I'm trying to keep that Cinecolor look.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because there's just not much there. That's the most we get of blues, you know, stuff like this. So it's almost like they did the whole color design based on knowing that reds and greens were going to be predominant, which is weird because it's Cinecolor, you know, and you get more reds and blues. But on this, green is way more prominent. And all I can think is that they really messed with the process just to try to make those greens hotter. You know?
Before we even get to the fireman business, we have to watch this poker game for some reason.
You know, it gives you that that Disney-esque character stuff. You get a shot with Sky or something that gives you the possibility of some blues. But I've been unable to get that much better. Actually, that's about as good as we get.
I think it is the best you can do. All right, it's not so hot there, so that's good. Yeah, this is my one.
It's such a good range on this print, on both of these, on the titles, everything.
That shot of the sun coming up was a tough cleanup job because of all the blue specks and dots and things like that. Now, what was that all about? You might want to address that to the audience there.
So I have a theory that the reason that there's so much dirt on these is because of the Cinecolor negative process. That's gorgeous. God, I wish I could get that out of all of them, you know? That is a really good color range there.
That's when I tried my best to, because it was timed green, just like the Parafield Fire Department was. And going off of something somebody in our circle was saying that with Cinecolor, it varies from shot to shot. And I'm not doing it as one long file. I'm just breaking it up. And it's just like, okay, I'll bring it up a little bit here and a little bit here, bring it down a little bit here, like here where the ground is.
Uh-huh.
And especially some shots of the grass, I'm bringing a little bit of green in some areas and a lot less green in others.
So this one's a 1940 Cinecolor print. And I think that, honestly, I think that makes all the difference. But if there's one to look good on the set, it's a good one to look good, you know?
That's what I wanted to do, for sure.
This one's been really hard to color balance too.
And this one's been de-flickered. Now, there's a background painting from the Glad collection that credits
right here. That shot.
This shot right here is credited to George Ruffel on the background painting.
Yeah.
You know where the stamp usually is at the top.
I think it's like one of these cells. I think that's the cell.
Yes. I think that looks fine.
This one's got an okay range for one of the Gut Loan 16s. Yeah, because they're all blue here.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're getting a green parrot up here.
Yeah.
So I think the range is right on this print because the background's blue.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these shots look like they were duped in because they really vary in contrast. And I've brought them up and down a little bit. And that gave me a really nice range because it gave me as hot as I could go and it had pretty pure colors otherwise, you know?
That does look good. I just find it fascinating that the first half of the Rainbow Parades is very troublesome in terms of scouring the earth for these materials. And it's just that first 13.
On these ones, like this one, a 35 hasn't materialized yet. And this is easily the best 16 I've got. Easily. The 5 different prints were transferred on this.
That's a lot of old folks.
That's a lot of old folks.
Oh.
So it took me a while, but look at the range on this print. The color range is almost as good as Sunshine Makers. And you can look at the scope all the way to the left, and it's got a nice range.
There's a few newspaper stories I found where they hired actual Japanese artists to paint the backgrounds for this short.
Yeah, to do backgrounds for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I managed to get the reds okay. They're still slightly orange, but I'm pretty happy with the range. What do you think?
I'm happy with it too. I love those backgrounds too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get the little green inside the crane's head there, and we get a lot of green in the backgrounds and things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is balanced as good as this could ever be balanced.
I know Carlo Vinci does the sumo wrestling stuff coming up because I needed help with that, and Milton and Charlie told me that this scene coming up of the father sumo wrestling this stork is Carlo Vinci.
Huh.
Right down to the posing. Right here. Yep. This is Carlo Vinci. This is where Carlo.
This is one of my favorites on it. I didn't de-flicker on this one. And there's some problems here and there, but not too bad.
When he walks off, that's a definite Carlo Vinci exit.
Yeah. So we had this print scanned twice.
Right.
Because the first time we had it scanned, it was scanned in Los Angeles, and And there was like stuff all over this side of the frame. You can still see just a little after our cleanup. This one went through pretty extensive cleanup, but when I got the actual physical print, I found that it was mold. That one side of the film had mold on it all the way through, and so I don't know what conditions caused that, but it didn't bubble the film, but it was pretty attached to that color layer. So I very carefully cleaned it, and then we wet gated, and that made all the difference because it got it much nicer looking. But you can see we can still get a little bit there. So maybe pull my yellows out a little bit.
Balance looks good in this shot.
I haven't done a shot for shot correction on this at all. I thought the overall balance looked nice. But maybe I'm a little hot on reds and stuff.
That might be the case, yeah. Just a little bit.
Let's go really simple. Let's just play with the temperature for a minute.
I know they're devils, but they don't need to be that hot.
Oh, we're pretty good there though.
That's a great
shot to look at range on.
Oh yeah.
All right, here's a really problematic one.
I love the full music though.
Yeah, this has got my favorite music out of any of them, I think.
With the rediscovered music, I noticed that certain leitmotifs, I think is the word, kind of crop up in the introductory beginnings of each film.
So this print has water damage throughout it in the center of the film. And so it's darker, and you get a color reflection and a problem throughout. Interesting, the live action scenes seem to have survived all right.
Now what I meant by the introductory music is you hear a little bit, "We are happy with the raindrops," before it starts.
Yeah, I love the beginning of this one. What do you think about Baxter?
The little girl. I also like the size differences of the three girls there. Bing, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's compositionally really fun. These have to be studio kids, don't you think?
I would think so.
I'm getting an okay range here, though. I'm getting okay greens. Let's see how that damage is flicking off and on here.
Pardon me, guys. I'll be going a lot.
I was able to get pretty decent reds out of this print, though, too. I think I got a pretty decent red-green-blue ratio for Cinecolor.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's about all the better I can get out of this. See, now, I think Eschbau had something to do with this film.
You think so?
Yeah, because look, we've got an Eschbau composition here. So my guess is that this was the next one he was working on.
That makes sense, actually.
Because the characters are sort of Eschbau-esque, too. You know?
And then later on, we have it today, this character is in Cuphead.
Yeah, almost the exact design. Here's Bob Kester's print of Mary Kittens.
We have Jim.
Look at that nice fake title card.
Or Seamus Culhane.
Yeah, this is your fault because you found the copyright catalog entry on this, which listed it as being directed by Burt Gillette and Jim Culhane. So,
you've got some good range there so far, yeah.
This one was really hard too. It's just the print was more bluish than this, but in bringing down the blues and balancing it with the red a little bit more, I was able to get a little bit more green into it. I think it's looking pretty decent. I think we're there on this one. I don't know if I could ever get much better than this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy because they're a little hot on that shot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're definitely a bit hot in that shot.
I've got to go back again and just do little tweaks on that stuff. God, I'm really happy with that one. 35 on it.
Now this is some of my favorite Winston Sharple's music in the Van Buren.
Me too. I love the track on this. So now the captain is definitely green here.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit of blue green. I guess that's what he was supposed to be in Old Folks, but there's no way of knowing, I don't think.
Well, I'm getting such a different range on this film, you know? We're barely getting any blues on this. It's just not there. You know, I mean, well, look, I get it on the hat, you know?
Yeah. Now, is this Bill Littlejohn?
Yeah, this stuff is, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that shot is, I think.
Later stuff.
Definitely Bill Littlejohn. It's got that look. Maybe I should leave that to the experts, though, but I'm almost completely out, and there's just nothing, you know? So I'm happy enough where it is, but what do you think?
There's the milk song that the kittens sing. This is what I was talking about.
Sharple's music is so great. There's so many cool things in it. See, I'm pretty blue here too.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's very blue there.
But I mean, compared to the last film, this has been the hardest thing for me, is that I just don't have...
I would toy around with that a little bit.
Oh, I've played with this one more than any of them.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's what I was afraid to say it. I'm like, I bet you've been toying around with this shot. There's just
I was working on this one again last night because I'd love to get that cat more orange, but look at my orange here. And I've got a full range of orange. I've got that balance pretty good between the two. But it leaves you to wonder what is the range in which they were printed or even designed. See, look, I got a pink nose.
Oh, yeah.
Play with. Oh, see, I've got like pink/purple on eyelids in some of this stuff. And once I started to get that, I thought, okay, well, I'm at whatever balance is on that print. But in theory, you should be able to bring this back down to the 2 Cinecolor layers, right? And in black and white layers, if you were to break it up that way, you could do it and try to reconfigure the color. But this Cinecolor print had a pretty good green balance, but this is actually, the final composite is really 4 different prints because every print is beat up on this one. But see, look, I'm getting a little bit more of a green and a blue balance here.
You use something like 4 different prints on this one, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 prints. It's like
the trouble you have to go through for you guys.
It's Colin's print, my print, Kosler's, Mark Mayfield's. It's a lot of prints.
Now, people in the comments on Curtain Research can also weigh in on this too. Is that right?
Yeah, I suppose they will. I hope they do. See, this is what's really hard about this thing.
Oh, man.
Is that you get shots where it's like there's like a lightness and darkness issue throughout, you know?
I see that. What that
and you
is.
can't do anything about it. You know, it's built in, you know?
It's like it's like a light bulb is shining on the left side.
Yeah. But what I've tried to use the best material from each print because the prints were all over the place and they were all beat up. So you got a nicer color range on that print. This might be the hardest set I've worked on just because there's so many technical things and you just can't get it exactly. You know, I'd love to say all the Cinecolors balance out nicely.
Yeah, it's like a quilt. There's just a bunch of nice patches on it.
Kosler is my hero on this because he came up with a beautiful print on this, and this is actually 3 different prints also. but his print had footage that weren't in any of the other prints, and
That's the best color I've seen on that cartoon.
this is a weird one because it's all over the place at the end, and every print was all over the place. There was no. It looks like they duped some of the footage in on every print that I found. But we've got it pretty clean.
That looks great.
And this stuff here.
Yeah, it kind of varies from shot to shot in terms of the color range.
It's really all over the place, but I've tried to do the best to balance it out.
Yeah. Bird Scouts.
Yay. We've just looked at like 16 films. Tommy's print was the best I'd seen on the film, and then Del Walker lent this print, and this was the best I've seen on it. But I have a little bit different of a color range on it, so that's also interesting. In the end, I don't want anybody to just be. I want people to just enjoy the film rather than think about all the stuff we've been talking about. But I'm hoping that this was an interesting post today, just to try to get the cat scenes working well and to get the blue and the green and everything working okay. And it's
now there's a model sheet of this cat on the set. This cat here might have been designed by Alex Lovey. And I've heard that Lovey was at Van Buren at this time. And it looks just like the characters he would design in Lance cartoons in the mid-30s and 40s. And I talked with a few people about that, showed them the model sheet, and they've agreed that Lovey did probably design that cat. Let's just say it's a very Lance-looking cat.
It really is. I think you're right on that. So one of the color layers is doing this, like the whole time.
Oh, man.
I don't know if that's from negative shrinkage or, but clearly there were problems with the process, like from a technical level, especially in 16 millimeter. Well, anyway, that's where we are right now with Rainbow Parades. And thanks so much, Devon, for coming along on this ride. Maybe the hardest thing too is just looking at all these films and trying to compare them to each other and try to get the range working, because heck, Cinecolor is all over the place.
You know what's ironic though? It's Rainbow Parade, and Cinecolor only offers you not much of the rainbow to begin with.
And that's all they had for a while. But when the process is at its best, it looks great.
Yes.
But then when it's at its worst, there's just not much to work with.
It's like that story I've heard of Leon Schlesinger in his studio finally getting Technicolor. Hey guys, we can use purple now.
That's basically it, right? All right. Well, thanks so much. I'm going to wrap this up finally. Have a good night, Devon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.